Okay, so the Pixel 5 was just announced recently and it's now available for pre-order at Australian dollars $9.99. To be honest, I'm not a fan of it. Let's have a chat. Look, don't get me wrong. For $9.99, it delivers some pretty good specs and pretty good features. But in my opinion, the Samsung S20 FE is a much better phone for the same price. Now, I don't want this to be a Samsung versus Google video, but I just want to talk about the features, the differences, and what you're actually getting in relative to the S20 FE. So let's start with the positive. The Google Pixel 5 has an excellent camera. All Google phones do. Google phones are well known for their photos and video qualities, and this one's no exception. Now, it's not necessarily down to the hardware of the lenses, but it's the software optimization that Google is just so good at. The Pixel 5 comes with incredible stabilization features, night mode, and it can shoot at 4K at 60 frames per second, or 1080p at 120 frames per second. It now also introduced a wide angle lens. Samsung does the same thing, but in my opinion, Google will offer a better camera experience. So number 2, pure Android experience. Well, what does that really mean? Okay, so Android is made by Google. When Google updates their software by using a Google phone, you'll get the software updates as soon as they're released. If you're using a Samsung or any other Android devices, so you gotta wait for the companies to apply a skin over the stock standard Android and release it on the market. Now that could take weeks or even months. Number 3, 5G connectivity. Now many phones would have 5G variant. However, arguably for under $1,000 at $9.99, this phone comes with standard 5G. Most phones you got to pay an extra $150 to $200 premium just to get the 5G. Now personally, I don't really rate 5G that much, especially in Australia where it's not very common. Let me just show you the coverage map. As you can see, 5G in Australia is not available in most areas, and it's still in its infancy stage. Now lastly, I have to mention that recycled aluminium body. Now how they managed to achieve wireless charging behind that aluminium body is still a mystery to me. Now, if you're not familiar with wireless charging, if there's a metal plate in between the phone and the conductor, wireless charging is not going to work. Now given aluminium is metal, so naturally it's not going to work, but somehow they made it work. Alright, so that's where all the positives end. Let's talk about the negatives. Number 1, the processor. It uses Snapdragon 765G. Now it's not a bad chip, but if you compare that with the Samsung S20 FE, you get the Exynos 990, or if you spend a little bit extra and get the 5G version, you get the Snapdragon 865, which is, you know, the top of the line processor. Now check out this benchmark comparison. As you can see, it's almost half of the processing power when you compare it to the 865. Number 2, the screen size. Now this one's subjective, right? But personally, I think 6" is too small. But I can see some people that might be fine with it. Now it is 1080p, the refresh rate is at 90Hz, which is not bad. But if you compare it to the S20 FE, that's got 120Hz. And once again, I have to emphasize, this is for the same price. 6" versus 6.5", 90Hz versus 120Hz. Number 3, the fingerprint scanner. It's still on the back. Again, not a big deal, but it is 2020. Phones, especially at 1K mark, should have an on-screen fingerprint scanner. I've even seen lower budget phones with an inbuilt fingerprint scanner. Bang for buck wise, at $9.99, the S20 FE is a better phone. You can even go for a S20 if you prefer a smaller screen, and you can get that discounted below $1,000 Australian dollars. While I acknowledge that Google makes excellent software, the hardware in their phone, in my opinion, it's just not competitive. However, you know, this is all based on the spec sheets that I'm reading. I don't have the luxury of spending $1,000 each on the phones, testing them out and giving you my full hands-on experience and in-depth review. I don't have that many subscribers, I don't get free shit. Now arguably this is probably better because I can give you a non-biased review or thoughts, impression. But having said that, a like and a subscribe would be highly appreciated. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, please stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.